All right. Again, thank you for joining us. If you would join me, we'll begin in prayer, and then we'll kind of run down the list of things we're going to cover this morning. So you can join me in the name of the Father, and the Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Joseph, by the work of your hands and the sweat of your brow, you supported Jesus and Mary and had the Son of God as your fellow worker. Teach us to work as you did with patience and perseverance for God and for those whom God has given us to support. Teach us to see in our fellow workers the Christ who desires to be in them, that we may always be charitable and forbearing towards all. Grant us to look upon work with the eyes of faith, so that we shall recognize in it our share in God's own creative activity and in Christ's work our redemption, and so take pride in it. When it is pleasant and productive, remind us to give thanks to God for it, and when it is burdensome, teach us to offer it to God in reparation for our sins and the sins of the whole world. Heavenly Father, we ask us to bless our time here, be with us, guide us in all things that we do. We pray all this in your blessed name. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. All right. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. So just a quick rundown of what we're looking at this morning. As you know, we've had a lot of updates, changes to safe environments, the whole protecting God's children kind of world in the diocese. So today we're going to be talking specifically about our new tracking system for background checks and safe environment training. What we're doing is we're going to be looking at what is called CMG Connect, Catholic Mutual Group. So CMG stands for Catholic Mutual Group. So our insurance folks, they have put together this program, and it allows us, again, to track all of our volunteers, all of our parish employees, school volunteers, and to ensure that they've done their background checks, their safe environment training, and all of that. In the past, if you needed that information, you had to typically call Patty when she was here, or myself at the diocese. With CMG, what is really great is you now have that at your fingertips to be able to look up people's information. And also, it's all stored in one location. Previously, our information was stored here on a server at the diocese, and now it's stored with CMG, which gives us, or with Catholic Mutual Group, which gives us access to it anywhere. And God forbid there's a flood in the building here and our server was ruined, we would lose all of that information. So now we're stored. All that information is stored electronically off-site, and we basically have access to it anywhere. So big advantage there over the old system. So today, I just want to run over a couple of things. For all of you, the CMG Connect, again, is the website. For anyone who is in charge of keeping track of volunteers or employees, their title is basically what Catholic Mutual Group calls it, is a site administrator. So all of our pastors are site administrators, and all those who are pastors have asked to help out with those things are also considered site administrators. So if you are on this meeting right now, you are a site administrator. So just to clarify what that term is all about, it just means that you have access to your location's information, and we'll show you how you can add information. We'll show you how you can check on specific people if you need to, anything along those lines. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start sharing my screen. So all the faces should disappear, and you should be able to see the CMG website. Let's see. Actually, give me 1 second here. I'm floating around doing a few different things. Okay. There we are. So everyone is hopefully now seeing the Catholic Mutual Group's homepage. CMG, sorry, not Catholic Mutual Group, the CMG Connect homepage. This is where anyone, whether they're a site administrator or simply a user, a volunteer, a teacher, would log in to access their training, put in their background check, all that kind of information. You'll see right away there's a username and a password. We created individual site profiles. So every site has a generic administrative login. So for instance, here in Redmond, it's simply Redmond admin, and then we have a password. All those new passwords information we'll be sending out to you so that you have it. And just in case you lose it, forget it, we have them, of course, here. We can update them. Every location is essentially the city name and the word admin after it, because we have so many, we have 3 different St. Patrick's. So to do St. Patrick's admin would have been a little more confusing, I think. So we just went ahead and used cities. Our folks in Klamath Falls, of course, make it difficult because they have 2 parishes, but you'll see, we made it different for you. So anyway, sorry, I apologize. I forgot to mention, if you notice at the bottom of your screen, or there isn't a spot that you can, we have a chat feature in Zoom. If you have any questions, I'm just going to ask you to put them in the chat feature, and then we'll try to address them at the end. Just again, we have 40 some people on this meeting, so to try and address all of the questions as they come up might be a little difficult because I can't see everyone all at the same time. Okay, so site admin. If I'm here and I need to, there's any number of questions that might come up as a site administrator. First and foremost, you might have a new volunteer and they'll need to set up a profile. You might have an old volunteer and you need to double check their information. Whatever it may be, this is where you're going to go to look it up. And because I know there's a good example, I'm going to use Klamath Falls, St. Pius X Parish in Klamath Falls, because I know they have an individual who is waiting for the background check to come back. So I'm going to just type in their login here real quick. I think I also chose this one maybe because it's the longest of all of them, which actually was an accident. Let's see. Okay, so I typed in username and password. As soon as you log in as a site administrator, what you're going to see here is the dashboard. The dashboard gives us some quick information. So you can see, so for instance, St. Pius X currently has 85 active users. That means, parish administrator, faith formation folks, any volunteers, any other employees of the parish, they're all counted in that number 85. It looks like there's also a new person volunteering or working at St. Pius. So we see right here, background checks awaiting review, 1. What that means is someone recently has submitted a background check and it has now come back and ready for review. We're currently working with Carolyn, the new diocesan receptionist. She's going to be reviewing those background checks as they come back and getting them back as quickly as possible. We've been told by Catholic Mutual Group, typically 7 to 10 days to get a background check completed. I've noticed that sometimes it only takes 2 or 3 days. And Carolyn here at the Chancery will be looking at those daily and sending them out as soon as they are cleared. So if you see, we have 1 awaiting review. Scroll down the dashboard. We have some expiration dates. So if you had a person whose background check was going to expire anytime soon, currently we don't have expiration dates on our background checks. So those are going to, you should never really see any information down below there. Some other things we can see is active certifications. Any parish employee or volunteer needs to be certified in order to be active in their role at the parish. So you'll notice there's a discrepancy. We have 81 active certifications but 85 total users. That difference in the 4 may be something as simple as these are people who don't have any access to vulnerable populations. So they don't have to go fully through the certification process. For instance, someone who cleans the rectory, and that's really all they do at the parish. We don't make them go through safe environment training for youth and that kind of thing. So again, dashboard is, we're looking at the dashboard. This is your go-to, begin, start, whatever you want to call it, anytime you need access to your parish's information. A couple things I want to point out, or one thing I want to point out really quick, and hopefully everyone sees my mouse up here. You notice at the very top, there's a search bar. That search bar, my advice to you is to absolutely ignore it. And here's why. So if I'm searching for myself, for instance, well, it says no results found. Maybe that's because I'm an admin, I guess. Let's see if I. Oh, I apologize. It's because I'm looking at Klamath Falls. Tammy, can you give me a volunteer's name real quick off the top of your head?
She's probably
Ipo Ross.
Okay. So let's see.
I know.
There we go. So I went ahead and I searched for Tammy. She's there, but if I were to hit enter, if you're on Google and you type in your search and you hit enter, you would expect to get a nice list of results. This search bar up here, if I start typing and then I hit enter, you notice nothing happens. So that's, if you're very certain who you're looking for, you can use it. It's a quick search, but it's not the best. If you do need to search for someone, the best way to do it is come over on the left side here to this blue bar where you see users. And I'm going to click on users. And then I'm going to click on active users. And there you can see I have a full list, and I can scroll down through my list alphabetically if I want to. But again, for a search purpose, you'll see there's the blue search users right here. If you're ever having to search, that is the best way to do it. And you'll see I can put in a whole bunch of different information to find the person that I'm looking for. Typically, of course, all you're going to need is a last name, maybe a first name. Now, this is the next piece of information, pretty important. Let's say I'm going to use the DALs as an example. In the DALs, we have folks who volunteer at the school and they volunteer in the parish. Unfortunately, the way CMG Connect is set up, those are 2 different sites. And so if I'm logged in as the DALs administrator, I'm not going to see the DALs school list. But let's say, well, I need to find someone and double check, make sure that they're all clear and able to volunteer in the school. There's this wonderful little button right down here in this search feature that says search full diocese. So if I click search full diocese and then hit apply, do my search, you'll notice that it'll pull up anyone who matches that criteria from around the diocese, not just your own location. And then you're able to see their certification status right here, which is the green star with a yes. If you see the green star with a yes, that means they are in compliance with diocesan standards. So again, you get a lot of crossover between parishes and schools, but also maybe you're having someone from another parish come give a talk at your parish, or whatever it may be. You can look at users throughout the diocese as a site administrator. So that's going to be very important. Like I said, especially in parishes that have schools. So again, ignore the search button at the top. Instead, take a couple extra steps, starting up here in your dashboard you can go to users, active users, and then search users. Now that's going to be 3 more clicks, of course, than just going up to that search bar at the top. But again, the search bar at the top is not the best tool. So I hope that makes sense. Go back over to our users menu over here. Just for your own reference, the merge, archived, and secondary users, you don't have to worry about those. If you have 2 people, so the merge feature would be, let's say for some reason, one person has 2 profiles. That happens. It happened when we took all of our information from our old system and transferred it to this system. We had a handful of those. They can be combined. If you need that, you can simply call us here at the Chancery and we'll take care of that. Archived, that would be anybody who was was an active volunteer employee that is no longer active. I can show you on another session later on if we need to, how to archive people. But you are able to look up your archived individuals. And secondary users, we just won't use that. It's a feature that is not set up properly just yet. So you'll notice above active users is create user. This is going to be an important one for you have somebody who maybe doesn't have internet access or is not the most technologically inclined. You can still get them a profile set up. It's very simple. You simply, again, click on the create user and fill out all of the pertinent information. And you will then have a user for your site.
Josh,
Yes.
this is Leah. I just want to maybe have you speak to the importance of the USCCB role and how that works, like to use other not included in audit, or if you can kind of show them some information there.
Sure. Yes. Thank you, Leah. So first of all, if you try to create a user without filling out the USCCB role, it won't let you. You'll notice, so first name has a little star by it, last name has a little star by it. Those are pieces of information that are required to create a profile. So the USCCB role is one of those that is required. What the USCCB role, what that does for us is each year, Leah is required to send a report to the Conference of Catholic Bishops to make sure that we are in compliance with the Protecting God's Children mandates. So this information is very important to that report. Not included in audit is, again, like earlier we saw at Klamath Falls, there's 85 users, but only 81 are certified. Those 4 people that aren't certified are most likely in this not included in audit category. Again, those are people who will never have access to youth or a vulnerable person, which is the very rare case. Again, maybe like I said, the example is someone who cleans the rectory. They're a housekeeper and that is it. Some people have asked, well, what about lectors? Is a lector, do they need to go through the safe environment training? We always err on the side of caution. And so an example would be maybe your lector is back in the sacristy, and for a split second, they're in the sacristy at the same time as one altar server. That means they have contact with youth. Therefore, again, we err on the side of caution. They would be put in as a parish volunteer and would need to go through the safe environment training. For the most part, the three roles that you're going to use, of course, are employees. That's any new employee to your parish, a volunteer, which is going to be our vast majority, and that's a volunteer in a school or the parish. And then educator, this is very important. Educators is specific to a Catholic school administrator or teacher. So if they're teaching in a faith formation program, or if they're teaching your first communion preparation class, that's not an educator, that's a volunteer. So just be sure to, educators are for schools only.
And Josh, we do have some locations that don't have schools that have that in there. So, you know, that's the kind of stuff we want people to look at and let us know, and we can get that changed for you if you're not able to do that to the proper code.
Right. Yes. Thank you. Okay. There's a few questions that are popping in. I just want to address those quickly. First question was, if we create a user, are they doing a background check and do the safe environment training? I'm not sure I understand this process. Okay, sure. So what happens is when a new user creates their profile, let me just pretend here. So when a new user creates a profile, they're not going to have the dashboard like we all have as administrators. They'll simply have this My Trainings, which is the first thing that will pop up. And you'll notice within the required trainings, there are two. There's the safe environment training and the background check. All they have to do is come to this page or log into their profile. And again, most of our people are going to create their own, or we're going to help them create it. And they can log in through cmgconnect.org and simply click start, and it'll walk them through this information. Once the safe environment training is done, that is then, that's all they have to do. We have access to look up that history. The background check, again, they just walk through the steps, and that background check gets sent out automatically. It'll come back in anywhere from 2 to 10 days. At that point, when it comes back, Carolyn will review them. She's going to be looking at them each morning to see when they come back, and then she will then email the site administrators and letting them know that, you know, person A, B, and C have completed their background check. And then I have another question here. Why would we include someone on our list who does not work with children? We still, so on the list, we're still doing background checks. They may not have to go through the safe environment training, but if they work or volunteer in the parish, even if not with children, they still need to go. They still need to go through a background check. So in our lists, this will still we'll still be able to have their background check on file. So we think a little bit about CMG Connect as our new filing cabinet that stores the background checks. So any background check that is done from really from last July forward is being stored in this platform. Okay, let's see.
So a lot of money counters sometimes are doing a background check. Also, I see finance council members. It's kind of a parish decision on whom and how they decide to do that. Also, you might have some bloodborne pathogen trainings or something that a maintenance guy might take. There's so many trainings, so not everyone needs to have everything, but the background check is kind of the standard for most of your volunteers.
Yes. Yep. Great. Thank you, Leah. Moving forward, so let's see. Don't have internet. How does that work? Unfortunately, if someone doesn't have internet access, we're just going to have them come to the parish and help them get through their training. Or of course, I mean, if they can go to a library or whatever it may be, my advocacy is have them come to the parish. My assumption is if they're not, they don't normally use a computer, they might need a little bit of help walking through the process. So we'll again, invite them to come to the parish and help them if you can. once, can we remove safe environment required training or the background check module? Two things. Once they've completed the training, it will drop off or it will show as complete. The background check, currently, it's going to stay there. We're working with CMG to try and clean some things up. That's one of them. But I do want to point out, and this is very important, the background check here is only required for new people, new employees, new volunteers. If you have someone who did darkness to light in the past, or they did the old background check, they don't need to do a new one. And they don't need to do the safe environment training. If they want to do the safe environment training, it's very good. It would be good for them to do so. So just as I'll use an example here. Let's see. So you see, I'm using the quick search that I said don't use, but I know exactly who I'm looking for. So I'm gonna, so for Charles, for instance, you'll notice Connect trainings here. I pulled up Charles's profile, and I'm going to scroll down because I want to look down here where I can see his Connect trainings. Under Connect trainings, if I click here and he had done the safe environment training, it would show up right here. Because Charles has been working with St. Pius for a few years now, he's going to have a historic training, the darkness to light, and the older background check, which most of us are going to have. So if I click on the imported trainings, basically what imported trainings is anything that we had in our historical records, basically the filing cabinet downstairs here at the Chancery, and we put it, we transferred that information into CMG. So you'll see Called to Protect, Darkness to Light, those kinds of things are here. And then also background checks, it shows one. So we see here that Charles has a historical background check. Again, those are any of the background checks that were done through the old system. And that is going to be the majority of our people, again, unless they've joined us either as a volunteer or as an employee within the last, since July. All right. I hope I'm not selling it short. It's really that simple. From the dashboard, the two main things we're going to look at as admins is our users, creating a user and looking for a user. Honestly, that's really what we wanted to cover this morning. I'm open to more questions, and it looks like there are some, so let me pull those up. Okay. Great questions. The Spanish, I believe there is. I'll have to double check with Catholic Mutual on that. If not, the Spanish challenge, I guess, would be we might have to have them fill out a form in Spanish, and then we would have to input the information for them in the create users section.
Josh, there's Spanish of everything, every single form.
Yeah, do you know how we access that? That's my big...
I probably will need to look into that. We can email everyone, but I know, and I'm guessing maybe they can pick that at some point.
I think there's a language. Yeah, so this is the challenging part, just because I haven't had to create a profile, my own profile. I'm fairly certain when you log in to create your profile for the very first time, there's a language preference that you're able to choose.
What is in the resources?
Yeah, so hold on resources for a second. I want to answer Father Joe's question. Father Joe's, if I have an extraordinary minister just wants the affirmation of faith only, how does this apply to them? Do they need... again, yeah, if they're going to be a Eucharistic minister, that we would consider a parish volunteer, and they need to go through the background check and safe environment training. I would look at a extraordinary minister, just the same as the example I used earlier of a lector. There may just be that momentary interaction, but it is potentially there. And so, again, the climate that we're in with safe environment and protecting God's children, we err on the side of caution. So they will need to go through safe environment training. The affirmation of faith is something that we're working on trying to incorporate into the system. I have to be careful. Please don't take this as the end word. Bishop, I think, Bishop Carey would like to look at the affirmation of faith and potentially update it. That was a discussion that came out a while ago. So I'm not, I'll have to check with him to get an update on that. All right. So there are, we have some other options as far as resources. I will kind of click in here. There's, you can see these are some admin guides and things like that, which are extremely helpful. If you want to kind of do some more advanced stuff, you don't necessarily, if you have a question about the system and how it operates and something that you want to change, you can definitely find it here. Which reminds me, I apologize. There is one more thing that I want to go over, which I'm assuming many of you will run into, especially at the beginning of a school year. So if you are getting all of your new volunteers in for your RE classes, or someone hasn't logged in for several months, they may forget their login information. So what I'm going to do as an admin is I'm going to come over to the users. I'm going to click on users, of course, active users. And just go through all the steps. I'm searching for one here. So Charles called me. Charles forgot his password. So what do I do for Charles? I simply, I've searched for his name. I'm going to click on his profile. And I have all of his basic information here at the top. But if I scroll down, excuse me, not yet. I want to click the edit user button up here in the upper right-hand corner. I click on edit user. You'll notice here is the username and a password. The password is all starred out. So I personally don't know what Charles's password is, but I can, and I won't because I don't want to mess up Charles, but I could delete it and put in a new one. Or I could, most likely what I would do is I'd say, okay, Charles, your username is Charles Catterall-Baker, and I've reset your password to 12345. And then Charles can log into his own profile later and update his password if he would like. But as a site administrator, you have the ability to change people's passwords. And of course, look up their username, which I won't throw anybody under the bus. I fielded several phone calls from one of the schools to figure out that information. It's really nice to be able to help out our people who need it. So with a little question like that, it's very easy to do. So,
Josh, can I add something real quick?
Please. Yes, please.
And if somebody hasn't been in the system, most likely their password right now is going to be 123456, especially if they have a username that's in the form of Charles Catterall-Baker. If they have their first name, last name, Baker, it's generally going to be 123456 until they reset it. And then where we see duplicate users a lot are in our schools, because they've already done Catholic mutual training throughout the years for bloodborne pathogens, for other items of safety, and then somehow two of them got created. And we did try to merge all of those, but sometimes you might have somebody log in to do a driving training and they forgot they had a password. So that's where you're going to see duplicates pop up, and why it's important to monitor your list, and we can help you merge those so that we don't have, I mean, it's only as good as the effort we put into it.
Right. Thank you, Leah. Yeah, so again, we can easily help them find a username or update a password if needed. The number one thing that you're going, or I should, the two top things again though that you're going to encounter are looking up a person's information as far as have they done their background check and have they done their safe environment training, and secondly would be adding a new user. These really, as far as the site admin, are about the only things you have to worry about. If there's needed curriculum, we work with the Catholic Mutual Group to add any additional training, like the schools, they have some additional training that they need to go through. And we will help them get that if they need it. For the most part, like I said, you're going to have, maybe just trying to think of some random examples, an individual who changes parishes. Maybe they move from one city to the next, and they're going to come to you and they're going to say, I am so-and-so, and I was a volunteer at Parish X, and I'd love to do the same here. Great. Well, then, let's see if you're good to go with the diocesan standards. And you can go ahead and search for their name and find them. And if it looks good, you can also help them edit their profile to change them from Parish A to Parish B. Those kinds of things. So I think we might have. Is there a user manual? A great question. Thank you, Lee. So essentially the user manual is that resources tab on the left. You'll see that's admin guide overview. There's an admin, all those different topics there are essentially your user's manual. And it's all right there, a click away. I think, yeah, and if you needed something else printed, that's essentially where we would go to print it. So let's see here.
Yeah, I printed some of those I use more regularly and put them in a book along with all of your admin names. I found that easier for myself. I would forget to go to resources. It's just what every person uses, but I had to do how to archive a person because I kept forgetting you had to be in a certain screen and some of those things. So it's what works best for you.
Yep. So Dorothy's got a great question. Do we need to review each person who is currently a volunteer, teacher, etc.? Good news, no. We are currently, when I say we, I mean mostly Leah. Thank you, Leah, and myself. We're going through and double checking anyone who does not have a current, who is in the system, but doesn't have a certification. We're trying to figure out why they don't have a completed certification, and we're updating that as we go. One small, I guess, piece of information I can give you is if you were to click on your user list, I go to my active users. You remember earlier I was saying what says that they're good to go, what tells you that they are all up to diocesan standards is this green star and the yes next to it. If you see that, we have no worries. If for some reason you were scrolling through your list, so for instance, Martha here, and this is one of the ones that Leah and I are looking into. It says background only. There's a couple things that are going on. Either Martha hasn't finished the safe environment training yet, or she's in a role that doesn't require it. So again, a money counter or a housekeeper, we don't require them to do the safe environment training. So
Josh, right on the side where it says other, they're under, if you click on that,
yep.
She is a housekeeper, so we've got her noted as not included. Yep. So you can see that's a really quick check. And if you realize she shouldn't be another not included, that's when you have a problem.
Right. If it said volunteer, then we would need to make sure that we have to figure out why it's why they haven't completed, or maybe someone here at the diocese simply needs to update a certification, which is very easily doable. We can do that in a matter of minutes. So And let's see, Dorothy, I think you had a second part of the question. A new volunteer needs to get on the website themselves and register via instructions from the admin. Yes. To create a profile is relatively simple. I'm gonna, for example's sake, I'm gonna go ahead and log out. If I'm brand new to CMG Connect, I'm a brand new volunteer. I'm going to be given the information to go to cmgconnect.org. And here's the screen that I'm going to see. And you'll see right here, there's a drop-down menu in the very middle. It says select your diocese. So I will open up, and thanks be to God, Baker's at the beginning of the alphabet, so we don't have to scroll super far down. Click on Baker and click Go to Diocese. And right here, you can see all of our information that a new person will receive. And over here on the right side is simply register for a new account. So this is where we would have them put in their information, and it would walk them through step by step. So it's very, it's quite simple. I don't want to cause confusion with my screen here, so I'm going to pretend I'm Donna for a minute. Is that okay, Donna? I hope it's okay. To look up your password, though. Okay. All right. Hey, and good news. Look, all of our people in Redmond we have no background checks that are waiting to be cleared. They've all been cleared. So. All right, so I think there was another question. Let's see. If we go back to using Eucharistic ministers, who checks out their training status? If there's a question about any individual's training status, the cited admin will check. For instance, if I had an individual who I wasn't sure about their status, once again, I'll have to go to the users, look at my active users, and I can either scroll down the list alphabetically, or I can search for them. And if I see that they're in compliance, then great. If they're not, then we can address the issue. If they were in compliance before COVID and our lack of use of ministers, Eucharistic ministers, they should still be in compliance when it's over.
Everyone from your old list came over. We checked that very thoroughly. So if they were marked active at June 30th, they went into the new system. Yeah. But each site needs to check for themselves if they have a question about whether somebody's certified. Right. Take a look. If it says no, then we can have that conversation. It's, so that you guys, we're not sending out your list twice a year to say, update these. You have access to them daily, so you're able to look. And if you need somebody inactivated, you should let us know. If you need somebody, doesn't have something and you have a question about it, then that would be a good time to contact us.
Right. So there was a follow-up to that question. What if they are not even listed? If an individual isn't listed, then they the hard answer right away is they need to cease any volunteering activities for the time being, and sign up for a profile and get their safe environment training and background check done. Yeah, so if someone is not listed, their bottom line is that they're just not in compliance with the safe environment requirements. So we would just have them sign up for a profile, get them started, just as if they were a brand new volunteer. But we can do that fairly quickly. So another question says, so anyone can create a new account even if we don't want them to? Technically, yes. If worst case scenario, let's say, we run into a regular problem of people creating profiles, I guess that's a really interesting question. There's they could submit a background check, and then, you know, we would be billed for that background check. That, I mean, I feel like we're getting into the weeds a little bit. Someone creating a profile is not a bad thing. They do need the instructions from you to go to the website and create a profile. I guess we can talk more about it later if you want, Charlotte. I don't see it as a, is it a potential problem? Yes. Is it something that is really gonna happen? I don't see it happening. I suppose if somebody wanted to, you know, cost us $25 for a background check, that's the most damage a person could do. It'd be a pretty organized effort, I suppose, to get, you know, 10 or 20 or 30 people to all go in and do that. In which case, then I'm sure we could work with it. But I hope that answers the question. We can talk more about that one if you'd like, Charlotte. Just let me know. Let's see.
Josh, can I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
You know, this is the online platform. If for some reason, though, you decided at your local parish you wanted to show the video to all your teachers, you could take a list of the date of the training and the name of the people, and we can update them in the system as having seen the new videos, and then you would have them sign the forms again to go with everything, and we would update them. So there's always that option for those that don't have a computer. If you decided you wanted your teachers to watch all the new training, your CCD teachers, or offer it as an opportunity, we could certainly do that as well and update them in that fashion.
Correct. Yep. And then let's see. Safe environments in Spanish. Yes, again, when they create a profile, they're able to have a language preference, and so we can get anything that they need in Spanish. That's not a problem. Let's see. Anne, you've asked, when altar server turns 18, do they go through the background check and training? Yes, they're an adult. They need to go through that information. They need to go through the training and background check. Can we create reports? Absolutely. That's one of the things that is hopefully going to make Leah's life a little easier every year with the USCCB audit, but also individual parishes. So there is a reports section at the very bottom. I'm just going to click on it. And you'll
Josh,
see,
I've used that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Have you used it at all?
I have not used it much. So if you want to talk to that, I do want to be respectful of people's time. I said this is only going to take an hour. And also, you know, we have mass here in the building. And
just quickly, what I do is I go into the export builder. If you want to show that, this has been my easiest one. I click first name, last name, USCCB role. It's on the second column, fourth down.
Got it.
And certification status on the third row, fourth down. And then I download the report and it shows me my people on a list with the yes next to them. I don't even choose any of the other stuff. So, and then I just export it.
Mm-hmm.
And for your site, this is a nice, it's pretty quick. It should be done in just a minute.
Yeah.
And then you download the report and you get to look at it, and it kind of says the person's name. You can also add the username if you wanted a list of people came in. So it will show their first and last name, if they're a volunteer, not reportable employee, and then it'll show the yes for certification, or a BG if they have a background check only. That way you have something, a hard copy, where you can start chasing down those people that might need a few extra things done.
And of course, and you'll notice in that builder, right, there's other things as well. You know, maybe I just need to know everyone who's done the safe environment training. You can select the different trainings and kind of know who's completed them, those kinds of things.
And you have to click safe environment in Spanish and English to get all of them, because they have both.
Yes. Yep. All right. Again, there's more options here in the resources will help you. You can see reports tab and export builder. There is a guide for that in the resources tab. So that is there as well. And I will say this, and Leah, I hope I'm not speaking too much. You let me know. There's someone here at the diocese to help answer any questions that you may have. So whatever your preference is, if you would rather not listen to me and you'd rather just read the guide, that's fine. If you'd like to call and speak with someone, that's okay too. We have folks here at the Chancery that will help you.
I agree with that.
Okay, thank you. Is there immediate info under resources that you recommend? Yeah, the overview, the admin guide overview would be a great thing to go through. That's really about it from there. If there's something that piques your interest in going through the overview guide, there will be another, there'll be something that has further detail inside of the resources. The other thing I would say is the 909 searching users. That's going to be, I think, most of what you're doing is going in and searching, making sure that someone is in compliance, or you need to update their profile for them because they forgot their password. The first thing that you're going to have to do is find them. So the search users will be a very helpful one. Just so everyone is aware, we've been recording. So we are going to have all this information, or our little Zoom meeting, published to the diocesan website, I hope by the end of the day. If not by the end of the day, for sure tomorrow. I'll be sending out an email with that link. Also, if you have any other questions, please email me, let me know. Again, my email address is just josh@dioceseofbaker.org. And we'll do our best to answer those questions. And then I will send those out in a follow-up email as well. We have, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. We've had a lot of participants on this meeting. I think this, we can say that maybe today we set a record for the largest diocesan Zoom meeting in the Diocese of Baker. So congratulations, you're in the books, you have a record. But again, we're here to help. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me, call, whatever it may be. I'm here to help, Leah's here to help, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying so. Mark is here to help, we're training him up a little bit as well. So I wouldn't call Mark just yet, maybe give him a couple days, but myself and Leah are here to help if you have any questions. Thank you for joining us. We're gonna, I think, scoot down to Mass here. Any more questions? Again, I can't express enough. Just email, call. We're here to help. So thank you again for joining us. Have a fantastic afternoon, and we'll see y'all soon.
Thanks.
God bless. Thank you.